Alright then, this video is going to be a little bit different from my normal. I've recently spent some time in Nepal and Japan on holidays, and while in Nepal I managed to spend some time with local knife making communities, or the Kami or Bika, which basically is the blacksmithing communities. I thought I'd take this time to, I suppose, show basically what goes into making kukri, which is a very, very famous knife, the knife of the Gurkha, or the Nepali knife, which they basically use in day-to-day life for a huge number of tasks. So yeah, I've basically got a video. I'm just going to give it a bit of a talk over as we go and tell you a little bit about the people and what goes into it. So let's get started, shall we? Alright, so basically their workshop area is a small sort of brick and corrugated iron space that outlooks onto the road, and their forge is a hole in the ground with bellows. They usually only have power for a couple of hours of the day, so when they do, they use fans to blow their forge, but the rest of the time it's all done by hand. And basically this is a Bika or a Kami family, or a Bik family, which is the blacksmithing caste. Now, unfortunately, the caste system is still quite strong in Nepal, being sisters of India in many ways. And because of that, this group of people is actually considered untouchable by society, which is really sad because they're lovely people, no different from you and I, and it's basically historical views still carry over today there. But these people were two brothers and their son, and their daughter and their wife. Well, one of their wives, and they basically took us on to show us how they go about making their knives. So they start with a leaf spring from a truck, which with the fuel crisis in Nepal, which you should go have a read up about if you don't know about it, means that there's a lot of trucks and buses that aren't working, so they don't have a shortage of steel at all. So basically they heat it up and they hit it with a hammer, and they let me have a go, which was a little bit embarrassing, but that's okay. And then they do some more fine tuning as the process goes on. And they place in the, I couldn't tell you its technical name. There's a lot of historical reasons. There's a small W notch in, W-shaped notch in most kukris. And basically there's a lot of rumours about all kinds of things. But here, sorry, they're actually just cutting in the tang and starting to extend it out. Now, the lad we're seeing here is a guy called Raj Kumar, who's studying at university, I believe, in marketing or business. And right now he's just starting to work on the handle, but he was, well, we were very fortunate. He spoke English, so he could be very, very helpful for us in sharing a lot about their lives and what's going on. And this is his father, who's been blacksmithing his whole life, just like their father before that, I believe. And they're very, very, very good at it. While we were sitting there, they had random people come up from the street and just ask them to fix things or repair things or do jobs for them. And they just sit down and sit in their shop and work away, basically. But here again, we're just extending the tang, because all the traditional kukri in Nepal are hidden tang knives, apparently. A lot of the ones we see used currently by the Gurkha, in the British Gurkha and Indian Gurkha and Nepali Gurkha, are full tang, but apparently traditionally they're all basically hidden tang. Now here basically you cut a small piece of mild steel that goes on the end of the handle where it joins to the blade, and then he coats it in clay and heats it up and basically welds it together. Now here we're burning in the handle, which is a bit of a slow process because there's no power tools, because there's no power. Usually they said they would do some drilling and that kind of thing to get the process going along, but today they weren't able to do that because the power wasn't on, which is pretty normal. And here's Raj Kumar doing some more handle work using his personal kukri. And now we've cut forward a bit because the power is on a schedule. We knew that the power would come on about 7, so at 7 o'clock we went back and they started doing some angle grinding and some more working of the handle, just to put the final edges on the knife and the final engravings on the handle, I suppose.
No, it's fine. It's
And here Raj Kumar is basically putting some, again it's a very famous common pattern that you see on kukris, which is basically the 1 or 2 lines with then some sort of semicircle pattern attached to it, or some other sort of decoration. And as you can see, they're quite good and quite efficient at it. I wish I had the same skills with my current blacksmithing abilities. Right, now I think this is the heat treat or tempering process, which is kind of all done at once with the kettle and the forge. So basically they just watch the color change and pick where to add water and where not to add water. And then this is the finished products. So the two at the front were made by the family that I was with, and the two at the back are souvenirs. And basically I suppose that's it really. I hope that gives a bit of an insight. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to drop me a message in the comments down below. I'd love to help out and share some of what I learned. Cheers.